The plant pictured here is a species of Begonia, commonly known as Begonia. Begonias are typically a low-growing annual. They're going to be 6 inches to 2 feet tall depending on the species and cultivar. They tend to have a rounded habit. Begonias also have very thick, fleshy, succulent stems and leaves. So they are bred for different traits. Some begonia species and cultivars are bred for flowers, others are bred for foliage, but they're always going to have alternate leaf arrangement as pictured here, and again, thick, succulent leaves and stems. This picture shows a single leaf. Now, the leaf shape of begonias can vary, but it's always going to be wide. It's usually wider than it is long, although not always. A lot of the time you'll have some kind of teeth on the margin of begonia, although not always, and some begonia species, those teeth are very large and pronounced. Others, they're rather obscure as seen here. Others, you may not be able to find teeth on the margin at all. However, some other traits that are pretty consistent: the leaf base is always going to be asymmetrical. Again, it's going to be a thick, succulent leaf, and the leaf will always be pubescent. A lot of annual species used in the landscape are going to have very glossy leaves, as seen here. Here you can see the underside of a begonia leaf. The underside of begonia leaf is always going to have very prominent veins. They're going to be very easy to see, and they actually sort of stick out from the leaf tissue. And the underside of the leaf is typically where you're going to find the most pubescence on a begonia, on the underside of the leaf and on the leaf petiole, as shown here. The flowers of begonias are borne on terminal cymes that are pendulous, and almost all begonias are monoecious, so they have separate male and female flowers on the same plant. Some are dioecious, so you're always having separate male and female flowers. They are typically in the carotenoid pigments, so reds, oranges, yellows, white, and pink, but it's reddish pink, so still carotenoid pigments. Now, one thing that can really help you identify this plant if you have flowers is that the female flowers have winged ovaries. This is a very distinctive trait, and you can see that in this flower here. That arrow is pointing right at the winged ovary of the flower. It's not a trait you're going to see in other plants that we cover. This picture shows you a clear view of both the male and female flowers on a begonia. So here's the male flower. The male flowers typically have 2 or 4 petals. If they have 4 petals, it's often as pictured here. You have 2 large petals and 2 very small, narrow petals. For other begonia species, the male flowers will just have those 2 large petals, and that's all. Here's a female flower. Female flowers of begonias typically have 5 petals, and again, that winged ovary. Now, this is an exception to those rules. Sometimes you will have double-flowered begonias, and in that case, you're going to have a lot more petals than 2, 4, or 5. So that's what you see here is just a double-flowered begonia, but again, you can still see those pubescent, fleshy leaves that are typical of the plant there in the background. So that concludes our discussion of the begonia.